yes, it's in violation of U.S. law, but it's also in violation of human rights. It also says human rights, for example, recognizes the rights of indigenous peoples. There's a distinction between colonized indigenous peoples that we should be very aware of because it has political consequences. But just as an example, we have a human right to visit the graves of our ancestors. This is a right recognized in human rights treaties. So when I say I'm out there, or we are Guahan, or whoever else is out there fighting for pocket, what we're also saying is we are exercising, we are invoking our human right to visit the graves of our ancestors. U.S. courts themselves do recognize that there is, under U.S. law also, there are rights to visit the graves of one's ancestors. But I'm sort of, I guess, primary goal as a writer, before a lawyer, has always tried to recapture the imagination of our movement. If self-determination is real, because it is real, and it's not an argument, and that's something I really, really wanted to say today. So many people in our community act as if when we talk about self-determination, we're arguing ourselves into existence. We have to argue and say that we have these rights. There is no argument to be made. The law is already clear. The law says I recognize as inalienable certain rights, including the right to self-determination. So there is no argument to be made. So you can be supremely confident when you go out and you be critical about the current military buildup, about unresolved colonialism. I want everyone here to be very clear that the law is already settled. It's already decided. So the question is not whether we have these rights, because we do. The question is, are we willing to defend the rights that we have on paper and make them real for our lives? Like, as a lawyer, engaged in trying to come up with a strategy for pocket, I'm very, very, very aware that part and parcel to my resistance may be to chain myself to the laddie stones because I understand that I can invoke international human rights as a defense. These are defenses that should be recognized in U.S. courts. As signatories to these treaties, as a member of the United Nations, the United States is obligated, not as a matter of graciousness or niceness, but as a matter of law, to follow these norms and these rules that the law sets out. So that is one thing I want to say. The other thing, and I realize now I'm really flirting with danger because there's a few things I really want to say. Okay, the other thing I really want to say is that we have to start becoming very, very, very precise about the language we use. I personally have been very uncomfortable with hearing some of our local leaders, political leaders, keep invoking this expression. Let's make this build-up, for example, the military build-up, a win-win win-win situation. I just desperately want to get a dictionary and define the word win, because I'm confused how it could be a win-win situation if it's proceeding in a way that's blatantly violative of all kinds of laws. I'm standing here trying to advocate, oh, I hate the military buildup, or I definitely have grievances. It's deficient, it's illegal as presently fashioned. There are so many things about the buildup that are per se illegal. But I'm trying, my contribution to this community, at least in part, is to try and encourage a return to a relationship with our words that makes sense. Why do we keep saying it's a win-win situation, for example, if we have no place at the table? If we don't get to ever decide, but I've sort of been repressing a lot of my feelings for quite some time. I hear the expression win-win, and I just immediately want to kill myself. I don't know how to deal with the fact that we're not using words carefully. We have to use words precisely. For example, self-determination. The United States has made a policy decision to pretend, to create a legal fiction, to pretend that there is such a thing as internal versus external self-determination. The former, internal, is usually meant to categorize indigenous peoples who, under international law, enjoy a lesser set of rights. And then you have external self-determination, which is the right to reject alien domination in totality. It arises in two contexts. The context of colonialism, which Guam currently, indisputably, we are a colony, so we have a right to full, unequivocal external self-determination. And that can be exercised by a vote, which my elders talked about, and that vote is a self-determination referendum. So as of 1960, the UN says we have three choices. We can become fully independent, we can be a freely associated state, or we can be incorporated. What?
Statehood.
Integrated, statehood. So there's three options: statehood, free associated, independence. But this is an example of what's going on in the community that bothers me even more than the fact that we don't have a vote, is that we're